My name is William Glasser. I challenge the concept that children have to fail in school. This is the Ventura School, one of the 21 neighborhood elementary schools serving Palo Alto. Here, children do not fail.
Hey, your turn, Lois. Go ahead. That's right.
Well, Ventura School.
Kids come to kindergarten a success. They're already involved, and they expect this to continue. If it doesn't, we've let them down. Don O'Donnell, the principal.
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll read this poem, Sleepyhead Bats, and you put in the words at the end that rhyme or the important words that I leave out. They hang by their toes, and they doze and doze, drowsy old sleepyhead bats, with the tops of their crowns so upside down. It's lucky they don't wear hats. They fold up their wings, the sleepy old things. Bicycle, a little louder.
Bike.
A different one.
Bike.
Bike.
Ball.
Bosh. Boots.
Ball. Banana.
Ball, banana.
Dry.
Billy said to Jimmy, "Is our job important?" And Jimmy said, "Oh, it's very important. The gardener's going to gather us up in a big basket, take us and put us around the roots of all of the trees and the bushes in the garden so they'll stay warm for the wintertime." Now, some of you made flannel board stories, and I'd like you to tell them now.
One day there was a little cloud who didn't know what to do. And once he didn't know what to do, he had to find out what he was supposed to do. So after that, he went on asking buildings what to do. And he never found out.
My children had some difficulty becoming a group, even after they'd been in school for a while. I needed something to show them they were a group. So we got in a circle and made a mural.
Down, he said.
Josephine?
Mike said, "Come up, Jack. I can't get velvet down."
Very nice, Sam. All children have special needs, but knowing this is not enough. We have to give them special help. Language experience, for example.
I will
Whale.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. Card yard.
Yeah. That's it.
Card yard. Star. Do they rhyme?
Yard. Yeah.
Does star rhyme with yard?
No.
No.
Special needs, special help, but in such a way that they don't feel separate. Their room is a place that they know and trust. Why take them out of it?
Tallest. Okay, the tallest.
They're both the same.
They're both the same. Bring one out. What color is that? What color is the other one that she has in her hand?
Green.
It's green, yeah.
Ventura School has no problem children or exceptional children or whatever these children are called in your community. We keep them in the regular classroom with their regular classroom teacher. The money saved helps pay for our resource teacher, Keith Maxwell, who provides the flexibility to make the program go.
Keith Maxwell. Without him, some of these kids wouldn't even be here.
Let's go over and see who's the tallest over with the other group, okay? Come on.
Yes, she's taller than Judy.
Okay.
Get.
Oh, schoolhouses. Schoolhouses. Let's put an X on it. Let's put an X on it.
Mike said.
Will you be able to do this when you get your own paper?
Yeah.
Good.
Do we have a lot of work to do?
Oh, yeah. You have a lot of work to do.
I'm going to do it.
This is all work that you can do.
This is all work that you can do. It's important to give kids goals that they can reach. That's success, and they can build on that.
Class meetings are the backbone of a school without failure. For many children, these meetings are their first success in school. This is Phil. If Phil doesn't get involved here, we'll lose him. We don't want to lose Phil. We don't want to lose anybody. What would you do if you were lost on an island? Mike?
I'd take dry reeds, make a fire, and try to find an animal if there are any, and kill that.
Oh, wait, that's pretty fast now. How do you make a fire if you don't have any matches? Jenny, what do you think?
Yeah.
How would you do it, Jenny? How would you go about doing it?
I don't know.
Sonia?
Use a magnifying glass.
Where would you get a magnifying glass? You always carry one with you?
Surely there would be one person who would bring a match to school. Like I said, you can rub rocks together.
You could rub rocks together?
And make friction.
Larry, go ahead, speak loud.
Throw one flint and metal, strike the metal against the flint, and you get some sparks.
How do you get those sparks going? Do they just light up on anything?
You have to blow them.
Okay. Well, suppose you got a fire going. What would you do besides get a fire going? What other things would you do? Here you're on this desert island. Stuart?
I'd try to find out where the island was and find out how I could escape and get back home.
Anybody agree with Stuart?
Yes, but...
Christy, how would you find out where the island was? Would there be any way to do that?
I'd have a map.
You think there'd be a map in the island?
No, they have channels that you could come there and you might see the island in a picture or something.
When you look outside and you see Palo Alto, can you find Palo Alto by just looking at a map?
No.
Jenny?
It might be something on the map that would indicate that it's there, like on island you might have a certain thing or a mark of some sort.
Suppose you want to get off the island real bad. What would you do to escape from the island? Let's see. Debbie, we haven't heard from you. You have any ideas how to get away?
Unless I made a raft, that's the only raft.
You don't know how to make rafts too well?
Hands off me, boy.
How about you, Sophia? What do you think?
Well, maybe swim.
Swim? Charlie?
No.
Phil?
Island nut.
Go ahead, Phil. What do you think? Okay. Have you taken anything in school that would help you to survive on an island? Larry?
Oh, in our tournament, you can take these mini courses like marine biology, and you would know about the creatures there, and you could know which ones you could eat.
Stuart?
Well, you sort of learned when you read stories about people who get shipwrecked. They tell how they get away. You learn things from that.
Mark?
You could learn something from geography about what kind of terrain and what it's made of, and if you can use any of it.
What if you found out that the radio in the airplane that crashed was still working and you could use the radio? Who would you call on the radio? Larry?
Just send out a mayday.
What's that mean, mayday?
It's a distress call.
Suppose you could actually call back to Palo Alto where you live. What would you say? Who would you want to call if you could call someone here to tell me? Jenny?
Call my mother.
What would your mother do?
You could call,
Guess you could call the police and lock the bell.
Suppose they didn't believe you. Suppose they thought you were kidding. Phil? Speak loud. You said something. I want to hear. Stuart?
Well, you could tell them the number of your airplane if they knew they were an airplane crash. I'd believe you maybe.
Maybe. Cindy?
well, if you called someplace like the Navy or something, they'd know that there was an airplane crash or something. They'd be looking for you, so they'd probably believe you.
Well, they probably would, but what if they were busy that day and they just didn't want to come out? You had to convince them. You know, maybe they don't want to go after 20 kids from Palo Alto. They got other things to do. How'd you convince them to come and get you, Jenny?
I'd say if we die, it's gonna be your fault. You're responsible for it.
Why would it be their fault if you died?
Because if you come and get us.
Well, what else could you tell them that would make them want to come and get you? Is there anything else you could tell them? Phil?
Call your parents and tell them. And if your parents recognize your voices, and they can say, that's my son, and go out in the island.
I think your parents could get after him, huh? Jenny? Jenny? Phil and I finally made it. We're involved. We both succeeded.
Dr. Glasser, down in Fresno, we're just starting to talk about these class meetings. Was this one typical?
I can't say I ever have a typical session, but the session was okay. I would have hoped there would be a little more thinking, a little more critical thinking of some of the questions and the possibilities and the subject of being lost on an island, you know. On the other hand, I think there was good interaction. They were listening to each other, and there was some challenging. I'd call it about average. I think they could do better.
You had some definite objectives in mind that you wanted to accomplish in terms of just increasing skills in.
Right, I want them to do some thinking. I want them to really think. They take everything for granted, you know. They've been taught very superficially in school, and most of their responses weren't even from school. They couldn't relate anything they learned in school. They really didn't know how to read a map or any of these things. But they did give some superficial, like I call it, TV kind of answers. Well, we do this or we do that. We'd make a fire. How to make a fire, I don't know. We'd get off the island, how? We'd swim, one kid said. You know, this kind of a thing isn't, it's almost magical. On the cartoons, they sometimes see people swim across the ocean and things like that. I think schools should serve to sharpen up their thinking and let them think critically about some of this information that's been coming to them. Let them, for homework assignment, try and bring in material to build a fire and try and build one. Give them a half an hour to build a fire. I don't think anyone will build one. They'll learn something from that. Things aren't as easy as they seem to be. It may be a push-button world, but they oughtn't to rely on it totally. These kids, when they go in the store to shop for something, they can be sold anything because they have no critical thinking, you know. They watch an ad on TV, they think it's great. They bring it home and it doesn't work, well, they just expect it, but they don't do any thinking about it.
It seems like it's a very non-judgmental attitude about what a child says, or even, in fact, about what he might not say. He's not pressured to have to answer you either.
Right.
You seem to go right off of him if you didn't want to speak.
I would ask kids, well, how do you do this? Or what do you think about that? But I wouldn't say that's a bad answer. That would be not the right thing to do or something like that. I tried to keep non-judgmental. It's not completely possible. I certainly judge some answers as better than others, maybe raise my voice and encourage kids. But I didn't judge any answers as unsatisfactory.
Flasher Ennis,
yes.
What would you do with a student like Lars who, say, at some time or another, he'll do some sort of disruptive tactics?
He didn't do it today because the situation was such that he decided not to. He was more interested in spoiling it. But a disruptive student, I found the best thing to do is either talk to him individually about it or sit him right next to me, even a sixth grader, and kind of keep a hand on him, put a hand on his shoulder if he gets disruptive and say, no, calm down, kid, you know. And that's the way you handle it. The thing is, keep the meetings going and don't give up. And if it's impossible, I've never found it impossible. I found it hard.
Yeah, as I noticed in one of your books, you make quite a point about kids making a personal commitment to change.
Right.
Have you found in working with kids that this is as important as you always indicated that?
Yeah, the thing is, people don't understand. They believe reality therapy has a magic to get a commitment. A commitment's only as good as the involvement you've got going. And if I have no involvement with Lars, then a commitment from Lars is worthless. But if Lars cares for me and he really feels I'm trying to teach him and I'm a pretty good guy, if I ask him, look, Lars, we're going to have a meeting today, I'd like you to cool it, he'll cool it. He can give a commitment because we're involved. But the average teacher can get involved with only a few kids. And this gets you involved with the non-producers and the slower kids and the disruptive kids. This gets the losers into the deal. Teachers say, how can I get involved with 35 kids? This is the way to do it. If the teacher can get involved with 35 kids without running class meetings, then I'd say don't run class meetings. All this is a way to get involved which can be done in the time she has allotted to her.
Good. We got it good. Okay, now, you all see that box there in the middle?
Yeah.
What is it?
Shoebox.
All right.
I know.
Camel?
a shoebox.
What could we use that box for?
I put shoes in.
I see. Lisa, what would you do?
I would put little tiny boxes in it if I had some, and if there were ants in it, and the box when I opened it, the lid and boxes popped up, then I would see if there's any little ants in it, and I would throw them out and kill them. What if they were army ants? Well, I would step on them. Then why would you do it?
What do you mean? Why would she step on the ants?
Yeah. Well, because what if there was a spider in it?
Let her answer the first question, Brian. Okay, first. Why would you step on them, Miss Lisa?
Because I don't like ants. You like, what if a spider was in there? You like spiders? No. You like, what flies are in there? You like flies? No.
What about you, Brian? Do you like flies? How about ants? Do you like ants?
If there was a spider in there, well, you shouldn't step on it.
Why not?
If you don't like flies, because they eat flies.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
What about
I read a book
ants?
about it. What?
What about ants?
Well, mosquitoes.
You would let the ants go. Why would you let the ants go?
Because they can't do anything to hurt you. Only army ants can.
What do army ants do?
They can, on Tarzan, I watched at one time, and he said, army ants can eat you up in 5 seconds.
You think so, Sarah?
Because the army ant mouth isn't too little to start eating you. On Tarzan, they said
Wait,
that.
Connie has something to ask Sarah. Let's listen to Connie.
Army ants are bigger than the other ants, Sarah.
What do you think about that, Sarah?
Well, I've seen some army ants, and you know how teeny they were?
Can you show us? Are you sure they were army ants?
Yeah.
How can we find out whether they were? How can we find out
that
whether they were army ants or not?
Because army ants are bigger.
Are you sure about that? What if you didn't know and you wanted to find out? How could you find out?
I know. Look in a book.
Can you read?
No.
So
My
if
mother can, though.
I see. Are there other ways you could find out beside looking in a book and beside asking your mother?
Yeah.
David?
Yeah. You could put it in your box.
How could you find out they were army ants?
Because you could put it in the box, and then it could eat the box in 5 seconds. And you'll know it's an army ant.
Any other way you could find out it's an army ant, Sarah?
We're army ants, so you can tell.
You can tell. Well, what do you mean you can? I don't know. I don't know what army ants look like. How could I find out? I don't think I've ever seen an army ant.
I know army ants.
They're black?
It's my turn to talk.
I
They
see.
can eat you. They are black. And you know what they were on their heads? They were a sort of and they were a black cat. Melanie and Nick can hear. Melanie and Nick can hear you up in 1 second.
Jennifer, you want to tell that to everybody, and then we'll listen to Carrie. What did you say to Mark just now?
I saw an animal. It was my cousin Melanie, and it didn't eat her up in 1 second.
Oh, I see. Carrie, what were you going to say?
Army ants could, on Tarzan, they said army ants could eat a man to a bone.
Tony, did you want to say something?
Yeah. And this army, and this small army in the box, and we ate, and we a big army now, and we said, and we dumb.
David, what do you think?
Nothing is in there.
You think nothing is in there?
Yeah.
Why do you think there's nothing in there?
Because I see it. When I close my eyes, I see inside it, and I don't see nothing inside.
Do you agree with David? That there's nothing in there?
I do. I do. I know what it is. Are we going to open it?
All right. Let's see if there's something in there. David, why don't you open the box?
That's nothing.
Nothing?
Yes, I can't see. Yes,
Children, miss, why don't you get up and jump up and down?
Kindergarten children talking, that's not news. But the same children listening to each other, respecting each other's opinions, thinking, just holding still for a moment, that's sort of a minor miracle. And that's what we're after.
Would you, if that was something that happened to you, if you were a grown woman and you were married and never had a child, like Ross is saying, do you think you would consider adopting?
Yeah, I would adopt that too because I like to take care of children.
And would you adopt little babies or older kids?
Little babies.
You would adopt babies. Kathy?
It's time for us to go to Miss Lyons to teach.
Okay, you go there now? Okay, that's Chesta and you and Patrice. Okay, fine, go ahead. Let's see, Ross?
Well, I like...
Patrice, Kathy, and Chesta are going over to Mrs. Lyons' second grade to do some tutoring.
Oh, forget it. I wonder what we're going to do in Mrs. Lyons' class. Probably going to help them with math or something like usual. Yeah, it's fun helping the little ones.
Now, kids tutoring other kids is not especially unique, but I know it works. And these young teachers learn from it. They learn about involvement and being responsible for other kids. And maybe most important, they learn to feel worthwhile.
Girls over there in the books and have them choose the one that they've been reading in and do it that way. And Patrice, these girls have a reading game that I'd like you to work with them on and see how much they can read from the story, and they'll choose the words to fill in it, that nonsense reading game. And Chester, would you please go over and supervise that painting for me? All those ornaments that the painting on.
Can someone be here?
Well, you read this part, and I'll go to her and read.
Okay.
They run to one house. They go up, they go in. Nighttime.
Okay, see, this is what I'm concerned about. Most everyone so far has said they would adopt somebody, haven't you? I haven't seen anybody disagree with that. If you'd like to disagree, then I'd like to hear that too. But the other part of it was some of you said if you were adopted, you would run away.
Down the runaway. Down the runaway. Now we are going to stop. Down.
I asked Chester once what he thought about tutoring.
Well, and if they need help, we try to help them. Like if they need help with math, we just ask them questions. And when they think they have the answer, and if they do, we congratulate them.
Thank you. Let's see. I'll see you next Tuesday.
Some of them, they wanted, they learned really fast. Some of the people in our class voted against pole vaulting. In front of you, there are materials that are part of the enrichment for 1970. Mr. O'Donnell, will you explain?
Boys and girls, you see on the chart here the various offerings that we're going to have this year for our enrichment for the spring of 1970. Do you have any questions that you want answered to take back to your homeroom?
Sonia. Who's going to be teaching the classes? Stuart. Well, last year they wouldn't tell you until a couple of days before it started because they didn't want you to take a class just because you wanted to have the teacher that's teaching. Elizabeth?
Number 7 on the front page, I wanted to know what the last line is. Third graders will be dismissed to go to the bus or home. Why is that in the thing?
Because this year we might include third graders in our program. Boys and girls, when you go back to your class, you know that you're going to have to explain to your class all of the various offerings that they may choose, right? Now, anybody remember from last year about how you make your choices?
Stuart and the other kids are excited about enrichment. It's their program because they help to shape it and they have a stake in it.
How many people took enrichment last year? Okay. Okay, well, now you'll know what Stuart's talking about.
Enrichment for 1970 is from January 13th to March 5th, and on Tuesdays and Thursdays. To enroll, you should put your first, second, and third choice, and it's very important to put your reasons. The things are beginning baking, good grooming, cartoon strips, creative writing, mathematical coordinates, modern dance and Swedish gymnastics, drama, folk singing, general science, art, and play.
Now, I know you had creative writing before. How about, how would you like to be an actress?
Yeah, sure.
I need a smart sister that really thinks she's something. Really thinks she is really it, huh? All right, Cynthia, if you really think you're really a smarty, you know, okay, you got it? Okay, come into the photographer's office.
Open up the door! I want my picture too. Black and watercolor. Black is beautiful. Fit me black. That's perfect. Well, let's see. Stay there, don't do that. That's perfect. Let's see. Get on with it, brother. You really can do something, don't you? I take my own picture.
Okay. One more photographer?
Push it down some. Pretty good picture, eh? Very good picture. The bottom one's mine. Really? That contrast is really good. It's better than mine. 15 seconds are up. Okay. Got to get the junk off. Why, that is a good picture. Hey, you got my picture. No, you don't. Go.
Get it over there to the sink, and get it in the wash. Look it over.
They're good. Yeah. When the one that will put the shine on.
Here we go.
How much strawberries? 69 cents. 69 cents. How much money do you have, Tom? Do you think we have enough for the strawberries?
Learning is where you find it. And figuring out whether you have enough to pay for the strawberries you need is relevant, practical mathematics.
And let's see, you get one of these over here. And this corner will get one.
Are they washed?
Okay. Yes, they are. Okay. Now, you have to take the green part out and put that on the newspaper and then cut them into quarters, okay?
Well, I'm saving this. I got this one. Hey, this one's mine.
You forgot to wash them off.
They were washed.
No, they were washed. They were washed.
Oh, that one. I took one right out.
Mm-hmm. Why is it important to wash them off?
Because they have DDT on them.
It
kill you if you get enough in you.
It's got insecticide on it.
It'll make you sick.
In this case, I guess you could say the way to a boy's mind is through his stomach. What I wanted to ask you now was, what do you think we're going to make next Tuesday? Tom?
Cotton candy.
Ricky?
Mike?
Ricky, what do you think we're going to make next Tuesday?
Pizza?
Mike? Mike, what do you think we're going to make next Tuesday? Tom said cotton candy.
Chicken.
Chicken? Let's see. Mike, what do you think we could make?
Salad.
Salad. Has anything been mentioned that all of you would kind of agree on, do you think? Tom?
Cotton candy.
Cotton candy. Would you agree to that? Do you think we could make cotton candy here?
Yeah.
Steve, what do you think? You think we could make cotton candy?
Yeah.
Chester, would you like to make that?
We need a cotton candy maker.
Do we have a cotton candy maker here at school, do you think?
No.
Stuart?
No.
Do any of you have one? Do you think we can make cotton candy then?
No.
All right. Dennis?
We can make pancakes instead.
No.
Yeah.
Tom, you say no. What, you disagree?
I'd rather have chicken.
You'd rather have chicken? Mike, you
chicken.
Chicken. How would you want to fix the chicken, Mike?
Fry
Fry it.
I know how we can make the cotton candy.
How could we do that?
Well, a cotton candy machine.
Is there anyone here? Dennis, do you have a cotton candy machine? No. Does anyone know anybody that has one?
We could go to a place that makes cotton candy.
Do you think we'd have the money to buy it?
No, we
Chester?
borrow it.
Huh?
Everybody could bring in $1.
Everybody could bring in $1 and we'd buy one.
Borrow one.
Oh, we'd borrow one. We'd rent one. Yes.
You'd probably have to put after.
You probably have to put a deposit on it, like a gas can.
Do you think that, I'd like to ask all of you a question for just a minute. Do you think that while we're talking that it's helping us to use the whipped cream there?
No.
Tom, what could we do?
We could wait.
Could you wait? Do you think you could wait for a minute until we decide what we're going to make?
I'm there.
All right, from these materials, we've asked each person to make an object that moves. Maybe we can talk about some of the things that were brought back.
This is a calipote, and I just put this in here and pull down and put it around there and pull this out, and that's how it works. I have something like that, but it's a different shape and it sort of works different. This rubber band has more power than this one, so that when I pull this out, so that it keeps this end down, and you put something onto here, and when you pull it, it shoots up. That's how it works.
Hold it out, bong, bong, not Big Bennett, but, give it a good one. And remember that this whole piece just depends on how you feel. Here we go. Let's try it. Robin.
How is Cindy Griffin doing in school? She wants to know. Her parents want to know.
Cindy, would you bring your language arts paper over, please?
Wes Halbrenner is Cindy's teacher in the 4th grade.
And have a seat here. You have both papers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I asked you here, how is my paper different from the paper that you wrote about how the Grinch stole Christmas? And down here you wrote, would you read the second sentence?
Everybody is happy with their part, so the play goes well.
Is there any difference from my word there and your word? What, is there any difference?
You use the other kind of there.
What could we do to change that?
Well, I could practice on them.
You could practice those words? Can I write those down? Write those words down on the list? Okay, all right. Language.
I want to go over the things you're doing in math, okay?
When Todd and I have something to talk over, we find the time. When something is important to them, kids have great powers of concentration, and even recesses work fine.
Listen now, this is what, Tuesday? Tuesday. Do you think you'll be ready to take the diagnostic test by, say, Friday? Let me write down just tentatively that you plan to be there about Friday or Monday. Would that be all right?
Yeah.
And you could take the diagnostic stuff then. Okay, about Friday.
Cindy? You know that word? Argument.
We know that word.
Do you know what an argument is?
Yeah.
What's an argument?
Could you get in a quarrel?
What
Kind of like a fight.
Oh, let's see. Suppose I said that you had to cut your hair that short all the way around. What would you tell me? Huh? What would you tell me? Would you argue with me?
Yeah.
Huh?
I think we had a commitment a while ago where you thought that perhaps by this Friday, I think, Friday or Monday, you would be able to take the diagnostic test over addition of like fractions. Do you think you're going to be able to do that, or?
I have 2 more pages. I'll be able to do it by Monday.
By Monday. Okay, now what happens there, Mrs. Osborne, is in the classroom, he takes a test over all the things he's done, but it's just diagnostic. And then when he's done, I can say, aha, you need to go back and work on this, or you know it, or whatever, you see?
Right. Well, I'm glad that you're checking carefully because, just one phase of it, I think, can throw them off.
Now, I want to ask Todd a question that he and I probably haven't discussed yet, okay? What do you think, Todd, now, in terms of, do you have any goal in your mind, or, like for this year? I know you're interested in math. I know that.
You mean like finishing stuff?
In terms of math.
Well, I figure I want to finish this book and then get halfway through the next one before the year is over at least.
You'd like to go that far? Are there some questions that you would like to bring to me that you've wondered about or that you're concerned about?
Oh, I know. Do the children make up the work, the classroom work, that you're doing pretty much all together, even though they may be in different color books or something? Or do they make it up when they're in these enrichment or the seminars or the student council or the music or, Todd seems to have a lot of extra things and...
That would be a concern, and I understand your concern. Yes, the answer is, he has to make up those things that he's missing. For instance, if we've been doing writing in the room and he's been at student council, for instance, you see, then he comes back, what is the assignment? Well, here it is. And then he has to find a way and a time and a place to do that. It may be that he and I work it out together. He has to make decisions, you see, in terms of himself and what he wants to do. I think the more trust you put in young people and the more responsibility for their learning, the more involved he gets into that. The more concerned he is with, gee, I just missed a lesson. I'm going to have to catch that up because I want to be here by Friday.
Do you have any questions now about anything that Kirk explained to you, or?
Not really. A couple of these books I bought so that he could keep at home.
Good.
Because some days he don't bring them home, so.
The Sullivan, or like for the spelling?
Yes, we bought one for the spelling and What, math too?
Mm-hmm. It was about phonics.
Yeah, one about phonics, because he was talking about that. He needed to study that more, and sometimes he didn't have the book to bring home, so we bought one of those too.
Great. That's fine.
What did you find out about the sea?
Well, I found out that there were plankton and a lot of microscopic things in the ocean.
Mm-hmm. On your paper, you gave some reasons why you liked that book. Would you read those to your mom?
I learned in this book that the ocean has millions of tiny microscopic things called plankton. About 6/10 of the ocean's plankton is a microscopic vegetation called phytoplankton. Phyto means plant.
Mm-hmm. And you also had another book that you said you didn't like, and that was The Ladybug. Why didn't you like that book?
I don't like this book for several reasons. One, it is too easy for me. I like much harder books. Two, it isn't a long book. I like longer books better. Three, it doesn't have good illustrations.
Mm-hmm. Could you explain to me what you mean by illustrations?
Drawings.
Mm-hmm.
4, it isn't exciting. It's boring. I like exciting books better. 5, it doesn't tell you much about the ladybug. It only says that one kind of ladybug has 6 spots, and another doesn't have any spots.
And what's the difference between a ladybug with spots and one without?
A ladybug without spots is a female.
Next item on the agenda, we've gone for years on the primary wing and the intermediate wing. Now, do you see that there'd be any feasibility in changing this kind of room assignment?
Are we talking about breaking up the sequence?
That would solve that problem.
I think
Of
so.
rooms,
Yeah.
like a first and then a third and then
So that the
and then
second
in between a 6 or something, you mean?
Yeah.
The only problem with the kindergarten is that they do need the big rooms, and the playground is right there, and also they have their bathrooms.
They could learn to use the outside bathrooms, couldn't they?
The tutoring things would happen a great deal more if the kids were closer together, so that when the need was there, you could step next door.
Well, were there any recommendations coming from what happened last year with all the tutoring going on? Was there any particular advantage of having one age with another?
Mm-hmm.
You may not want to get them as far apart like as 6 and the little ones, but when they're closer together, it would work better.
I don't think we want to spring this on the kids. There's a certain status thing set up, you know. The 6th graders are way down there, right? And the kindergartners are way down there. And I think that in our class meetings, we're going to have to talk about it if we decide to do this, why we're moving, and they're going to have to make some decisions. Yeah, it's a good idea.
They thought they had been demoted just because Fran had moved back to room 6.
Yeah, they felt they were in 2nd grade
Yeah.
again instead of 3rd.
But it can be worked out through the class meeting.
Ventura Elementary School has all the problems and all the possibilities of any school. A year ago, the Palo Alto School District and the staff of this school made a conscious decision to work together to eliminate failure, the source of many of the problems. We are still in the process, but all of us, and especially the students, are beginning to see the promise of a school without failure. This could be your school.